Mary, this really isn't your average type of crockery, is it?
I hope not.
No, really. I want to take it all home and play with it. I particularly like the doggy bowls.
Yeah, well, they're one of my new range. I sort of started doing them after this was the old version, well, the cat version, which was all bright and cheerful.
So why have you taken such an unconventional route?
Well, everything's a bit wobbly. I mean, that's how I like doing, really. Because I was really interested in like Mexican ceramics and that. Because this is how I started off doing really bright stuff and a bit funky.
What's the influence now?
It's kind of similar sort of influences in artists that I look at, and Chagall and all sorts of people like that. Yeah, but it's still the same sort of carnival-y type of fun. It more comes out in the shape now rather than the design. So you've got everything's just a little bit wonky.
You do a whole range of stuff, don't you? I mean, from the sort of candle holders to napkin rings to teapots. Are you going to move to other areas?
Yeah, I want to do some bowls and all sorts of different things. Obviously, it's quite expensive to get each new thing set up because I get moulds made and this sort of thing. But yeah, slowly it will happen.
Ceramics is really just one side of the work that you do, because you do papier-mâché, mosaics. Tell me a little bit more.
I have done a few bits and pieces. I did Big Throne, which is on a show called Crazy Cottages at the moment. The presenter sits in it and it's like big and gold and red and fun.
Back to the ceramics now and the whole process.
So I used to actually hand make everything, but to speed the process up, I now have moulds made of my work. So I make one original, which say a mug I'd make in two pieces, the handle and the main body of the mug. And then I get plaster moulds made of my work. And then into the plaster mould you pour liquid clay, which is slip, and that just forms a coating on the mould, and out pops your mug. So it's a much quicker process. There's actually a clock down there that's just, basically that's popped out of the mould, and then it's just being biscuit fired just to make it a bit stronger.
And then from that?
Then it gets painted with underglazes, which is the bright colour you can see there. And then over the top of the underglaze, you put the glaze, which actually spray on. And then after that, it's just the mechanisms popped in. After it's fired, you have to fire it up to like 11, 20 degrees centigrade. These are fired to.
So the designs obviously start in your sketchbook.
Yeah, I just start scribbling really. So this is where all this started. The idea of a pick and mix and different handles and different lids and all fitting together, and then it just kind of goes through the system of how I'm going to make it really. And this is where I've started with a teapot design of a sort of kooky nature.
I love that word, kooky.
And there's the first kind of real mug, you know, I've ticked to that one, that's how it's going to be.
And you personalise them as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do quite a lot of that actually, especially for weddings and christenings and things like that. I write people's names on them and dates and stuff. That one.
Like this lovely little one here with little faces, and then Colin and Helen.
That's for the wedding, which is quite a nice sweet one.
So where do you sell and exhibit your work, Mary?
Well, I started off by selling to craft fairs and doing things like that, and a few exhibitions in small galleries. And then with the help of the Prince's Trust, I did my first trade fair, and from there I got lots of shops and outlets all over the country, really. So one of my main outlets is a place called Octopus, which mainly takes my cufflinks, and then the Prince's Trust have got a shop called the Trust Shop in the King's Road. And then there's a few places all over the world, really. I sell to the US and Japan and Australia and Europe and South Africa.
Have you got any idea about the type of customer that buys these kooky designs?
I guess it's quite a mix of people, really. Obviously, they're quite expensive when they get to be in the shops, so obviously it's got to be someone with some spare income hanging around. Most of it's for gifts, and then I have a few people that keep coming back because they're collecting it and things like that. So.
And how much?
Well, the teapots retail at about £50, around £50, and then everything kind of follows from that.
Cufflinks seem to be a very popular choice from your range.
Yeah, well, I guess they're cheap and cheerful, really, aren't they? They're kind of fun and they're a nice little gift, and they're affordable, really, I think.
Affordable? How much?
Well, they retail sort of £9.95, £12.95, something along there. So, you know, they're nice little presents and got cheerful little designs on them.
And word has it that a very famous president from South Africa wears it.
Nelson Mandela apparently has got a pair. I did some, it was another Prince's Trust do when he came over here, and so I did them with the South African flag and the Union Jack on, one on each. So apparently he does have a pair.
You have to look out for him in photographs. Now, I don't want to ask any more questions. I want to play.
You want to have a go?
Yeah, so I've decided on a sunflower.
Right.
So paint in hand, a little circle going.
Mm-hmm.
That's supposed to be a sunflower. But
It's flower-like.
no one's going to pay $9.95 for the envelope.
Probably not.
That's the theme tune for my lunch. Dun, dun.